relationships today is a science. In other words, हमें पता है कि क्या चीज़ें हमारी relationships को बेहतर बना सकती हैं और क्या चीज़ें हमारी relationships को harm कर सकती हैं. I always tell young couples one thing: don't marry a project.
Noted.
कि अगर आपको कोई चीज़ लगती है कि उस बंदे में सही नहीं है
हाँ
या उस लड़की में सही नहीं है already, it's not going to get better automatically.
जी.
Monkeys fall out of trees, people don't fall out of love.
Wow.
My only job in life is to find my soulmate.
Yeah.
एक दफा
It's like you're saying that's actually my job. ये तो
एक in happy relationships, we don't allow our conflict to hold our relationship hostage. अब के जनरेशन में ये बहुत कॉमन चीज़ है. Faith is a personal matter.
correct. I feel like I could talk to you forever, but you know there's a limit.
2 days ago I was at a function and somebody was sitting in front of me और उन्होंने कहा कि आप मर्ज़िया हसन हैं. तो मैंने कहा जी. तो उन्होंने कहा कि आप मुझे नहीं जानती लेकिन आपने मेरी ज़िंदगी बदल दी है.
Assalamu alaikum ख़वातीन और हज़रात and welcome back to my show Hello Zara, जिसकी होस्ट मैं हूँ उल्टी पुल्टी उर्दू स्पीकिंग ज़ेरा. और आज जो मेरे साथ बैठी हुई हैं वो एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत सोल है, बहुत ही खूबसूरत इंसान है. And she embodies transformation, wisdom and an unwavering commitment to build stronger families and healthier relationships. She is a parent, a coach, an author and very close to my heart because वो मेरी actually खाला है. She's my aunt and I'm her biggest fan. मैं जब भी वो कुछ भी post करती है, जब भी वो कोई भी talk देती है, I'm her number one audience. So I'm so grateful and I'm so honored that she is here with us in our studio. हम बहुत कुछ सीखने वाले हैं और हम बहुत कुछ बात करने वाले हैं. So I'm really excited to welcome to the show Marzia Habib Hassan. Woo!
I don't think I've ever got such a amazing welcome. So thank you.
No, thank you so much for coming and I'm so sorry that you had to wait so long. ये हमारा new studio है, हम पहले दफ़ा यहाँ हैं. So I'm really sorry that you had to wait. You know, thank you so much for being here. And let's talk about life. So is there any story, कोई transformation that you created and helped happen?
Okay, there's two parts to my work. एक तो मैं one-on-one काम करती हूँ लोगों के साथ, either couples, families, individuals. And then, as you know, I publish online, like you. Okay. अब ये है कि जब आपके सामने कोई बैठा है तो you have a very close, intimate relationship with them. आपको पता होता है कि भाई वो कैसे changes कर रहे हैं. और जब आप ऑनलाइन कुछ पब्लिश कर रहे होते हो तो आपको पता ही नहीं कि वो कहाँ जा रही है चीज़ और उस पे किसका असर हो रहा है, राइट?
जी.
तो वन ऑफ द मोस्ट आई वुड से रिवॉर्डिंग aspects of the work I do, and you know, obviously when you are publishing online हमेशा लगता है कि पता नहीं कोई सुन भी रहा है, क्यों कर रहे हैं हम. then you remind yourself कि भाई you're just doing it for yourself. लेकिन बहुत दफ़ा ऐसा हुआ. In fact 2 days ago I was at a function and somebody was sitting in front of me और उन्होंने कहा कि आप मर्ज़िया हसन हैं. तो मैंने कहा जी. तो उन्होंने कहा कि आप मुझे नहीं जानती लेकिन आपने मेरी ज़िंदगी बदल दी है. So you know, it is and of course I asked her because I'm more interested in कि भाई कैसे
जी,
क्या आप,
जी.
बिकॉज ज़ाहिर है काम तो खुद ही को करना पड़ता है. आप किसी कोई चीज़ सुनेंगे या आप कोई चीज़ पढ़ेंगे, दैट्स ओनली, यू नो, अल्लाह ब्रिंग्स दैट टू यू फॉर अ पर्पस एंड इट्स अप टू यू कि आप उसको किस तरह लेते हैं और आप उस पर क्या एक्शन करते हैं.
जी.
तो ये अल्लाह का बहुत करम है कि व्हेनेवर आई फील लाइक गिविंग अप, मुझे कोई ऐसी साइन आ जाती है कि भाई डोंट गिव अप.
Yes, don't give up, MK, because we love your work. You know, वो बहुत असर पड़ती है. And you're right, you know, कभी कभार we don't know that, you know, who's watching, who's not watching. And but I love all your talks. थोड़ा हम relationships के बारे में बात करें?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Okay, ठीक है. तो आप मुझे बताएं that इस दुनिया में यू नो जैसे इतने टेक्नोलॉजी आ रही है, यू नो, बम्बल है, टिंडर है, ये है, वो है, सोशल मीडिया है. तो हाउ हैज़ टेक्नोलॉजी काइंड ऑफ changed the way that we navigate our relationships today?
Oh, very, very important, and a question that I could actually write a book on.
Okay. We're waiting for that book.
Okay. Because actually, I did write my first book was about parenting in the age of technology,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So relationships are very much impacted. देखें दो चीज़ें हैं, दो important चीज़ें. एक तो ये है कि जो relationships का जैसे life blood है ना, वो है attention. How you connect. You cannot have a relationship with someone if you're not present with them.
No.
राइट सही है. और टेक्नोलॉजी ने ये जो मोबाइल टेक्नोलॉजी कि हर वक्त फ़ोन हमारे हाथ में होता है, इसका सबसे बड़ा असर ये है कि हम एक दूसरे को अटेंशन दे ही नहीं पा रहे, क्योंकि हमारा अटेंशन हर वक्त बटा हुआ होता है. अब देखें, एक चीज़ है रिलेशनशिप्स में जो कि रिसर्च शोज़ दैट इज़ अ वेरी सिंपल, बहुत सटल कॉन्सेप्ट है ये, लेकिन बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है, और वो है जिसे कहते हैं अंग्रेज़ी में टर्निंग टूवर्ड्स. टर्निंग टूवर्ड्स यानी कि जैसे कि हस्बैंड वाइफ बैठे हुए हैं, डॉटर मदर बैठी हुई हैं, राइट, और कोई पढ़ रहा है तो कहा कि अच्छा तुमने ये देखी न्यूज़ की आर्टिकल आज. अब दिस इज़ कॉल्ड कि मैं किसी के अटेंशन के लिए एक बिड कर रही हूँ, यानी कि आई एम आस्किंग फॉर देयर अटेंशन. अब उनका रिस्पॉन्स वन ऑफ थ्री वेज हो सकता है. एक हो सकता है कि आप इग्नोर करें क्योंकि आप अपने फ़ोन में इतने लगे हुए हैं कि आपने सुना ही नहीं कि क्या हो रहा है, राइट. तो उसको कहते हैं टर्निंग अवे, मतलब आपने नोटिस ही नहीं किया. ओके. फिर दूसरा होता है कि आप टर्निंग अगेंस्ट कर रहे हैं, कि अगर मैंने आपको कोई कहा कि कांट यू सी आई एम बिजी, तो ये होता है, मतलब इससे दिल, इंसान का दिल टूट जाता है, जाहिर है, राइट, बिकॉज आई एम आस्किंग फॉर योर अटेंशन बिकॉज आई लव यू एंड आई वांट टू बी इन रिलेशनशिप विथ यू. लेकिन जब मैं उस बिट के बदले में मुझे पनिशमेंट मिलती है, तो फिर मैं नेक्स्ट टाइम तो आपका अटेंशन नहीं मांगूंगी, राइट. और तीसरा जो सबसे आसान वे है वो है कि बहुत ही सिंपल चीज़ें हैं कि अच्छा हाँ बताओ क्या पढ़ रही हो, और व्हाट इज़ इट अबाउट, जस्ट continuing that conversation.
Right.
So with technology and with our attention completely कि हर वक्त हम फ़ोन पे लगे होते हैं या इंटरनेट पे लगे होते हैं, सोशल मीडिया पे लगे होते हैं. देखें, सब कहते हैं कि मैं मल्टीटास्किंग में बहुत अच्छी हूँ, मैं ये भी कर सकती हूँ, मैं ये भी कर सकती हूँ, बट साइंस ये बता रहा है हमें कि मल्टीटास्किंग तो जैसी कोई चीज़ है ही
नहीं है,
बिल्कुल भी नहीं. तो अगर आप दो चीज़ें कर रही हैं कि जैसे आप कुकिंग कर रही हैं और आप कुछ सुन रही हैं, राइट, तो ये होता है कि आपका अटेंशन पूरा वक्त बटा हुआ है. एक सेकेंड आपका अटेंशन जो आप सुन रही हैं उस पर, दूसरे टाइम आपका अटेंशन जिस चीज़ पे आप कर रही हैं. तो ये रिलेशनशिप्स का जैसे कहते हैं ना कि इट इज़ साइकोलॉजिकल एयर. अटेंशन प्रेजेंस इज़ लाइक साइकोलॉजिकल एयर. एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग रिसर्च पढ़ी थी मैंने काफ़ी साल पहले, जिसका उसका नाम है आईफोन इफेक्ट.
ओके.
आईफोन इफेक्ट यानी कि अगर जैसे अब इस टेबल पे आप इमेजिन करें कि किसी का फ़ोन पड़ा हुआ है,
जी.
ओके, हमारा है भी नहीं, वो ऑन भी नहीं है.
हाँ.
रिसर्च ने ये बताया कि हमारे जो क्वालिटी ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन है दैट विल बी इम्पैक्टेड by just having the phone in view, even if it is not our own. तो ये इतनी सटल चीज़ें होती हैं कि हमें पता ही नहीं है कि हो क्या रहा है.
That is, oh my God.
So the biggest way that technology has changed relationships is this diversion of attention all the time. Because देखें, जो मेटा है, जो जितना भी सोशल मीडिया है, it is run by very big organizations, right? They are spending billions of dollars कि वो हमारा attention खरीद सकें,
ले लें, हाँ,
right?
हाँ.
तो हम क्या चीज़ हैं? Because the amount of
product है, I guess.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
We are the product.
That's scary.
It is very scary. And sad चीज़ ये होती है कि most of the time देखें पता ही नहीं होता कि हो क्या रहा है. Like most of the time जब मैं देखूंगी कि आप, मेरा तो ये काम है कि मैं जानती हूँ, I people watch, right? तो मैं देखूंगी कि कोई यंग कपल है जो डेट पे आया हुआ है,
हाँ.
और वो कोई रेस्टोरेंट में बहुत अच्छा खाना खा रहे हैं, और वो क्या कर रहे हैं? दोनों अपने फ़ोन पे हैं.
एक दफा मैंने भी वो देखा and I was shocked, you know.
So this is very, very damaging to relationships actually.
And very common.
And very common. So that's the number one. Second thing what social media does is that it always prioritizes image over substance.
Yeah.
कि मैं लग कैसी रही हूँ. आप ये देखें कि जो भी आजकल रिलेशनशिप्स होती हैं वो ये होता है कि भाई जब कोई प्रपोजल भी करे तो वो इंस्टाग्राम पे कैसे लगेगा,
Of course.
जब शादी होती है
Of
तो वो
course.
इंस्टाग्राम पे कैसे लगेगी.
Of course.
ऑफ कोर्स की क्या बात है, आप ये
एंड
सोचें.
मैं भी गिल्टी हूँ इस चीज में, जब कभी कभार मैं इवेंट सिर्फ मैं जाऊंगी टू टेक दैट पिक.
Yes, and this is a challenge of your generation, right?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ कि देखो अगर कोई चीज़ हम कर रहे हैं
जी
और उससे हमें खुशी हासिल हो रही है तो हमें वो ज़रूर करना चाहिए.
जी.
लेकिन रिसर्च क्या बताती है कि ये जो चीज़ें हम चेस कर रहे हैं पूरे वक्त,
Yeah.
it's not making us happy. It's actually costing us. Because आप ये देखेंगे सोशल मीडिया का काम ही है कंपैरिजन.
Yeah.
अब मेरी शादी हो रही है, किसी और की शादी हो रही है, उनका बजट है करोड़ों में, मेरा बजट है हज़ारों में,
ठीक है.
राइट.
हाँ.
अब मैं कैसे खुश होंगी अपनी उस पर कि जब मैं पूरे वक्त उनकी शादी को देख रही हूँ. हालांकि जो like I'm a big believer in research and science, okay? Relationships today is a science. In other words, हमें पता है कि क्या चीज़ें हमारी relationships को बेहतर बना सकती हैं और क्या चीज़ें हमारी relationships को harm कर सकती हैं. It's not a secret. We know this, okay?
जी.
और ये जो Instagrammable pictures हैं, sharing on social media, spending money on weddings, on the proposal, these have zero
Okay.
predictable value in how happy your relationship is going to be.
Really?
Zero.
God.
In fact, it's the opposite.
Wow.
कि आप जितना भी देखें, जब कोई चीज़ आप डालेंगी अपने इंस्टाग्राम पे तो
जी.
आप ये तो नहीं डालेंगी जिस दिन you're looking bad or
नहीं,
जिस
नहीं.
दिन you're feeling sad
No.
or you went somewhere and it was a terrible experience.
नहीं.
आप वही डालेंगी जो आपकी सबसे हाईलाइट रील होगी ना दुनिया जिंदगी की, आप वही डालेंगी.
Of course.
जाहिर है.
जाहिर बात.
अब मेरी ज़िंदगी में बहुत सारी मुश्किलात हैं
Of course.
और मैं आपकी जब हाईलाइट रील देखती हूँ तो मैं सोचती हूँ कि ये देखें ज़हरा की तो ज़िंदगी इतनी बेहतरीन है.
Oh, हंसी.
उसके बॉयफ्रेंड या हस्बैंड ने तो उसको इतनी सारी चीज़ें दे दी है, इधर भी लेके गया उधर भी लेके गया. अब मुझे ये तो नहीं पता ना कि पिक्चर से पहले आपकी कितनी लड़ाई हुई, पिक्चर के बाद आपकी कितनी लड़ाई हुई.
Wow.
मैं तो सिर्फ अपना जो इनसाइड ऑफ द रिलेशनशिप है वो कंपेयर कर रही हूँ आपके आउटसाइड ऑफ द रिलेशनशिप से.
Wow.
So this is a very big, so many times जब मैं couples के साथ काम कर रही होती हूँ, so they are continuously comparing. They're saying this is not normal, this is not normal. I said आपको पता क्या है normal क्या चीज़ है? आप तो सिर्फ अपनी ज़िंदगी जी रहे हैं, right?
हाँ.
और आप जब दूसरों के साथ कंपेयर करेंगे तो आपको नहीं पता कि उनकी ज़िंदगी में क्या हो रहा है.
The thing that मेरा opinion है जब what's really changed is the options. हमारे fingers पे कितने options हैं, हम ये pick कर ले तो we're like यार did I make the wrong choice, is this the better choice, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a very sad reality because ये होता है कि जब आपके पास इतने options होते हैं ना और you are never sure, like you said, that you made the right decision. और ये भी है कि प्रॉब्लम ये नहीं है कि आपने राइट डिसीजन बनाया ये नहीं. प्रॉब्लम है आपने सुना होगा कि द ग्रास इज ऑलवेज ग्रीनर ऑन द अदर साइड, राइट?
Yes.
तो
Yes.
क्या होता है, ये मैंने इसके बारे में ब्लॉग भी एक लिखा था कि जो ग्रास ग्रीनर नहीं होता, हम बैठ के दूसरे के नेबर्स को ग्रास को देख रहे होते हैं कि कितना ग्रीन है. अगर हम
Wow.
सुबह उठ के पानी दें अपनी घास को, वीडिंग करें, थोड़े से फूल लगाएं तो हमारा घास भी उतना ही बेहतर होगा जितना कि नेबर्स का है.
Wow.
लेकिन सोशल मीडिया में यही प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? और ऑप्शन में यही प्रॉब्लम है कि हर वक्त हम दूसरों के घास को देखते रहते हैं कि वो कितना हरा भरा है और हमारा ग्रास तो लगता नहीं क्योंकि हम उसको अटेंशन ही नहीं दे रहे.
बिल्कुल. Is there any the one like is
So this is again a very big myth in relationships कि my only job in life is to find my soulmate.
Yeah.
एक दफा
It's like you're saying that's actually my job. ये तो
एक दफा जब soulmate मिल गया
हाँ.
तो कहानी खत्म.
हाँ.
अब happily ever after शुरू होगा
Roses,
और that's the end of the story.
Ferraris.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, sorry to burst your bubble.
Yeah, please do it. I'm ready for it.
That is not how it works. Okay,
Oh.
देखें. But again, I always go by science. okay,
Okay,
what
yeah.
research
I love that,
shows,
by the way, that
what
about you.
research shows is that anybody can be happily in a relationship with a number of people. It is not the one. Because आप जब वन ढूंढते रहेंगे तो आपको पता कैसे चलेगा? बिकॉज देखिए
That's the
परफेक्शन तो है ही नहीं
thing.
इस दुनिया में.
Yeah.
परफेक्शन तो नहीं है ना. तो आप यही सोचते रहें कि अच्छा इसमें इसमें ये, और अगर आपको लग रहा है कि कोई परफेक्ट है, जैसे कि आपने कहा कि somebody you know he told you that she is perfect, okay,
Yeah.
I would suggest that he hasn't experienced reality yet.
Wow, wow.
बिकॉज परफेक्शन जैसी चीज़ अल्लाह ने इस दुनिया में रखी नहीं है. You are a human being, I'm a human being, we all have strengths and we all have challenges.
जी.
तो अगर आप परफेक्ट को ढूंढेंगी तो आप हैं परफेक्ट.
नहीं. I really thought about it for a second. नहीं, मैं perfect तो नहीं हूँ यार. Far from it.
Exactly.
Far from
So
it.
then what's the point of looking for perfection?
You know, I love that. I love that because, you know, सोचे जो मुझे डरा रहा था is that सोचो मैं ये सारे साल मैं the one के लिए इंतज़ार कर रही हूँ. फिर जब the one शायद आए and मैं खुश नहीं हूँ, तो फिर क्या होगा?
The one to name is a big myth.
Okay.
However, there are some things which are predictive.
Okay.
कि आप वो चीज़ें किसी में ढूंढेंगी अगर आप उन चीज़, because you know there are a lot of people who say कि what question should I ask?
जी.
Do they like cats? What kind of TV shows do they watch?
Correct,
Okay?
correct.
Zero predictive value, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No way. So
Yes.
if they like the same music, it doesn't mean that we're gonna. Oh my
No.
god.
So it's actually acronym.
Okay.
And this acronym, the reason I like it is very much in line with what Islam suggests that
ठीक है.
we look for in a spouse.
जी.
Okay. तो acronym है FACES.
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 Okay.
Faces.
तो इस पे मैंने वीडियो भी किया था शायद. मैं सब अपने nieces nephews को कहती हूँ कि वो वीडियो ज़रूर देखना और कुछ देखो या नहीं. It's called 5 things to consider before saying yes.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing, and again these
I'm
are
pretty
all
sure I saw it, but
Probably a long
I
time
even
ago.
messaged. Yeah, it's a long time ago because I said I was like we need to talk about this. So I'm okay. We're talking about it.
Okay. So the first thing, and again all of these are based on what is predictive of a happy relationship.
ठीक है.
Okay. The first thing is faith and family.
Faith and family.
Okay. Why is first of family तो आप समझ सकते हैं. Why? क्योंकि जो भी हम relationship की चीज़ें सीखते हैं वो family से सीखते हैं.
Yeah.
Right? तो अगर मैं बहुत dysfunctional family से हूँ तो
जी.
it will be harder for me to make a happy relationship क्योंकि मेरे पास मॉडल ही नहीं है. मुझे पता ही नहीं कि भाई स्टेबल रिलेशनशिप, हेल्थी रिलेशनशिप होती क्या है.
Yeah.
तो इसका मतलब है कि अगर मैं डिसफंक्शनल फैमिली से हूँ तो ये नहीं कि मैं नहीं कर सकती, लेकिन ये
Yeah.
है कि मुझे इस पे काम करना होगा.
जी.
मुझे इस पे अवेयरनेस होनी होगी कि देखो मेरी ज़िंदगी में तो ये जो चीज़ें थी काफ़ी डिसफंक्शनल थी, मेरी फैमिली हेल्थी नहीं थी. तो आई नीड टू एजुकेट माई सेल्फ, बिकम अवेयर दैट यू नो आई डोंट वांट टू मेक द सेम मिस्टेक्स. नंबर वन. Faith, why do I say faith? I don't mean only religion, but I mean faith is your value system.
Okay.
Okay. बहुत दफ़ा ये होता है कि जब young couples वो कहते हैं faith is a personal matter. Right? ये अब के generation में ये बहुत common चीज़ है. Faith is a personal matter.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah.
However, आप ये सोचें कि देखें जब जवान होते हैं लोग तो इतनी वो अटेंशन नहीं देते.
Yeah.
फिर ज़रा जब ज़िंदगी में चैलेंजेस आती हैं, डिजीज़, डेथ, अदर फाइनेंशियल चैलेंजेस, सो वेयर डू पीपल टर्न?
Faith.
They generally turn to God,
Faith,
right?
God.
So things that were not important when you got married, you said, no, we'll figure it out. We don't agree on the same things. They start becoming important, right?
Wow.
So faith and family is the first thing, okay?
I love that.
Then A is for attitudes and actions of the conscience.
Okay.
Yani, what kind of a human being are you?
Wow.
This is way, way more important than what kind of music you listen to or what you like to eat or where
Yeah.
you like to go for holiday, right?
Wow.
Because देखें, आप अगर आप एक person of conscience हैं, you will not hurt somebody else knowingly. We all do it unknowingly. You will not do it knowingly. You will be careful of your actions. You will be accountable, right?
जी
So, how, and there are ways, there's a whole technology of how do you figure out these things, okay? But at least you must know what you're looking for. So the A is for attitudes and actions of the conscience. C is compatibility.
okay
Okay. Like you said, what kind of food do they like,
yeah
right?
yeah
So compatibility is also of three different types.
okay
One is values compatibility.
correct
One is lifestyle compatibility, right?
Mm.
And the third least important one is the interest compatibility.
Oh wow.
That's actually the least. Why? Because वो change होती रहती है.
Yeah, that's so
जो
true.
चीज़ें मुझे पसंद थी जब मेरी शादी हुई थी, तो अब तो वो बहुत vastly different है ना.
Of course.
लेकिन मेरा जो basic attitude to life, my
Yeah.
outlook to life, that has grown and developed. It hasn't changed radically.
Wow.
My lifestyle, if I like, जैसे देखें, एक like a big sticking point, जैसे अगर मुझे बच्चे चाहिए और मेरे husband को नहीं चाहिए, okay?
That's a
That is a
problem.
very fundamental difference in values. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't have half a child, right?
No, no.
You can't compromise.
No.
So ऐसी चीज़ें are very, very important to figure out before, okay? Because, so many couples I work with, पहले ये बातें हुई थी, लेकिन
जी.
उन्होंने कहा, संभाल लूँगी मैं, बदल जाएगी मेरी बीवी, बदल जाएगा मेरा husband.
Yes.
And I always tell young couples one thing, don't marry a project.
Noted.
Don't marry a project. कि
Yes.
अगर आपको कोई चीज़ लगती है कि उस बंदे में सही नहीं है,
हाँ.
या उस लड़की में सही नहीं है already, so it's not going to get better automatically.
Wow.
Okay, so you think, okay, I'll fix it later.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't
Okay?
work. And just एक चीज आपने मुझे कहा था that I'll remember जब मैं आपके साथ रह रही थी, you said that Zara, in the beginning of a relationship, that's when the person is showing you the best.
Absolutely.
And उस वक्त आपको कुछ नजर आए तो don't ignore it, because that is when they're actually showcasing their best, of themselves.
Absolutely.
So that really stuck with me.
Absolutely.
So you're right, yeah.
And then there's E.
E.
Faces ka E, right?
Faces ka E.
E is examples of other relationships. Yani, how does this person get along with other human beings?
Oh, with his friends.
Friends,
his
family, co-workers. अगर आप किसी के साथ हैं और उसको सबसे झगड़ा है दुनिया में.
That one.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's
right?
a problem.
Which means that they are the common denominator.
Right. Right.
In all their
right.
relationships.
Of course.
So
Yes,
examples of other relationships is a very important thing.
Very
और
strong indicator.
these days क्या होता है कि अगर आप किसी को मिलें, जैसे काम पे रोमांस हो गया या यूनिवर्सिटी में हो गया, right? Those are what we call incubator relationships. यानी आप एक दूसरे को सिर्फ उसी माहौल में देख रहे हैं. सिर्फ आप या तो काम पे देख रहे हैं, या आप यूनिवर्सिटी में देख रहे हैं, या आप स्कूल में देख रहे हैं, तो यू आर नॉट गेटिंग अ फुल पिक्चर.
No.
Okay? और this is a very big difference between how people used to meet in the past, because उधर तो सब families एक ही neighborhood में रहा करती थी, so you knew kind of the package. Now you are seeing a very small aspect of that person, right? Like online.
Yeah.
So many people meet online. What do you really know about them?
Their
How they
beach
text.
pics, yeah.
How they text, their Instagram,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you need to do a little bit more
Digging.
investigation on that. In other words, get to know them in many aspects of their life.
Wow.
Okay? और जो last thing है faces का, वो है skills of relationship.
Skills of
how you
relationship.
communicate, how you apologize, how you, and those, the good news is that those are very learnable.
That's great news.
They're very learnable because देखें, communication किसी को भी, this is not something we get taught in school.
No.
Right? So if a person is willing, and they're willing to learn and grow, and they realize they're not perfect, okay?
Yeah.
So you can work together to adjust, because change, compromise, growth तो होती है हर relationship,
जी.
right? So faces is like, in my understanding, much more helpful कि rather than कि अब मैं उसको क्या question पूछूं, where does he like to go for holiday, and like you go to holiday 1 week of the year, आपको ये देखना है कि the rest of the 51 weeks how he is, right?
I love it. Wow, this is so powerful. I think that this is really gonna help so many people. Faces. Wow, I'm like ready to get married. I think now I'm like ready. Like now I'm excited. I'm like, forget the one. You know, let's look now.
Yeah.
So
you,
then that's really good. So what if, okay, now what if you go through the phases, you find someone, you're like, let me bet on this person, let me see that what's going to happen. So you get into a relationship and, you know, maybe you get married. Over time, it doesn't work. So do you think then even if all the faces are there and you have the thing, but फिर भी आपको पता है यार divorce rate is over 50%, you know, so why, what's going on? Like, should people be then getting divorced or should they then be going to you to help them fix their marriage?
So, okay, very good question. Dekhiye, you know, long ago when I started my field of work, मैंने एक चीज़ पढ़ी थी which made a lot of sense. Okay, they say, you know, कहते हैं, oh, we fell out of love, right? इसी वास्ते we are not getting along because we fell out of love. That's the biggest piece of nonsense I've ever heard. Okay, but so my teacher told me, they said monkeys fall out of love. Monkeys fall out of trees. People don't fall out of love.
Wow.
देखें love क्या चीज़ है?
हाँ.
जो आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है लव की और मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है उसमें बहुत फ़र्क होगा, राइट? हम समझते हैं कि लव इज़ अ फीलिंग. अब वो फीलिंग चली गई तो अब हम क्या करें? लेट्स मूव ऑन. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. यू नो, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि जब फीलिंग थी लव की तो आप क्या कर रहे थे उस वक्त? व्हाट वर यू डूइंग? एंड व्हाट आर यू डूइंग नाउ व्हिच इज़ डिफरेंट? So love is not only feelings, it's the way you think, it's what you do, actions of love. Actions of love. So, you know, here's the thing. You don't get married only on a feeling.
Okay.
And you don't get divorced only on a feeling.
Okay.
Both things are true. Okay. Wow. I'm in love with this. I remember once you had told me this.
Yeah.
But MK, what can I do? The heart wants what it wants.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah. Please, involve your head.
I think I should take that advice.
There are two parts to us, right? It's not only our hearts. And again, it's both and, right? So कोई लोग कहेंगे कि हाँ देखिए पूरा resume तो check हो रहा है तो I should get married. मैंने कहा खुदा के वास्ते ज़रा सोचो. Do you like the person? I don't care what their resume looks like. They could be perfect on paper, but you have to live with this person. You have to see if there's any feeling, at least to start with. Right? You can nurture that feeling later on. But if you've actually not liked each other from the very beginning, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's harder.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's both. It's both your head and your heart have to be involved in the process. Right? और जो actions of love होते हैं देखें, जब लोग लाइक स्पेशली कपल्स इन डिस्ट्रेस, मैं तो वही देखती हूँ, राइट? जब कोई हैप्पीली मैरिड होता है वो तो नहीं आएंगे.
नहीं.
तो जब मैं कहती हूँ अच्छा आप ना मुझे दिन बताएं, यू नो, व्हेन डू यू फर्स्ट सी ईच अदर, व्हाट डू यू डू टू ईच अदर, लाइक हाउ डू यू, एंड दे जस्ट लुक एट मी कि व्हाट डू यू मीन. इतना कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होता है कि उनकी जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है ना वो इट हैज़ टेकन ओवर द होल रिलेशनशिप. नाउ इमेजिन कि in any relationship, there will, by the way, always be conflict. In the happiest of relationships, there's conflict, and in the unhappiest of relationships, there's conflict. There is difference, though. There is a big difference. Dekhein, when in happy relationships, we don't allow our conflict to hold our relationship hostage. Iska kya matlab? Now, let me give you a personal example.
Please.
So, I've been married, alhamdulillah, a very long time. And, you know, when we are not getting along, you know, when we are irritating each other, which will happen in long-term relationships, okay? तो फिर क्या होता है कि छोटी-छोटी चीज़ें बड़ी-बड़ी चीज़ें बन जाती हैं. जैसे my husband and I have a very different idea of time. Okay. Like, for example, like for work, obviously, I'll be on time. But for social events, right? I grew up in Karachi. Okay, so what that means is कि अगर कोई बुलाएगा 8 बजे तो आप
10 बजे.
Like आप 8 बजे तो नहीं जाओगे ना?
नहीं.
But for him, it is a matter of principle and respect for the person who's called.
Oh.
कि अगर 8 बजे है तो 7:45 पहुंचना है, 8:15 बजे नहीं पहुंचना. Okay.
Wow.
Now, this has been a basic difference in our personalities. And alhamdulillah, now we just laugh about it. It's one part of our relationship. But when you are in a hard season, and remember, marriages have seasons. There are some
Right.
good seasons and there are some very challenging seasons. Okay.
Wow.
So जब चैलेंजिंग सीजन होता है, फिर ये जो छोटी छोटी डिफरेंसेस होती हैं वो बहुत बड़ी बन जाती हैं.
Wow.
और फिर ये होता है कि जो बिल्कुल जो चीज़ें नॉन निगोशिएबल होनी चाहिए वो हम करना बंद कर देते हैं. जैसे जब मैं कपल्स के साथ बात करती हूँ तो मैंने कहा आप लोग एक दूसरे को ग्रीट कैसे करते हैं. सो दे लुकिंग एट मी एज ए व्हाट यू मीन. But you have to greet each other. You have to say salam to each other when you get up.
It's so sweet.
It's such a basic small thing, right?
Wow.
Where at the end of the day, you have to say good night.
Aww.
Like, it's, making a relationship work is not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's really not. We think कि Instagram पे कितना बड़ा proposal होना चाहिए,
Yeah.
घर कितना बड़ा है, diamonds कितने मिलें. Zero predictive value, right? What makes a difference is these small things that build friendship,
Small things.
that
Small things.
you do small things often.
Yeah. It's
Hashtag small things often. This is the secret to long-term relationships. Like, alhamdulillah, we've been married a very long time. We still appreciate each other every single day of our lives. Every single day of our lives. Even when we are very annoyed with each other, हमें पता है that we can still keep the good stuff front and center.
Yeah.
And that is really important.
Wow.
Because when you live with someone, you not only know their best, but you also know what they like at their worst.
Of course. Of course.
And especially if you've been looking for the one, you
Yeah.
can see how that would be a problem, right?
Yeah, yeah, wow, mashallah, that's insane. And yes, I always did look to you, like it's always been so beautiful, and it's always been so, the way that you manage your relationships, it's beautiful. I do a little fun thing, which is the
Okay.
first time we're trying this, which
Oh
is
dear.
basically a taste test, a cookie taste test.
Oh.
These are all the Mana's different cookies.
That's the problem with sugar, right? It's a drug. You can't stop.
Sugar is a drug, man. Like, it's like, I love sugar. Sugar is my favorite thing. You're gonna wrap these up, you take them home and enjoy them later as well. Okay, amazing. I love that. Okay, and now we're gonna play a little rapid fire. Coffee or chai?
Chai.
UK or Canada?
Canada.
Canada or Pakistan?
Oh my goodness, that's very tough. Wherever I am.
Aw, that's sweet. Habib University or Williams?
Habib.
Of course, yes. Early mornings or late nights?
Late mornings.
Yes. Okay. Fill in the blank. The best parenting advice I ever received was.
Be kind to yourself. Because when mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
Yes, I love that. Oh my God, that's a beautiful thing, because sometimes we forget that, parents are humans.
And in our, mums in particular, they are so hard on themselves.
Yeah.
So hard on themselves. Like all the mothers I work with, they do so much. वो पूरे वक्त करती रहती हैं और वो अपने आप को पूरे वक्त क्रिटिसाइज भी करती हैं.
Yeah.
और अगर मैं यही कहती हूँ कि अगर आप क्रिटिसाइज करने से बेहतर माँ बननी है तो करें. लेकिन जब हम अपने आप को क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं पूरे वक्त तो हमारी पूरी एनर्जी उसी में चली जाती है.
Yeah.
और जो एनर्जी हमें पेरेंटिंग पे इस्तेमाल करनी चाहिए वो होती नहीं, बिकॉज वी आर टू बिजी फाइटिंग विद आवरसेल्व्स.
Wow, I love that. Okay, the relationship red flag that most people often ignore is.
Love bombing, maybe?
Oh my God. I was a love bomber. I'm not even kidding. What is love bombing? I think I was. If you define it a little bit, I can tell
So
you that
I
हाँ,
don't.
ये मैं
It's a
थी.
very young term. So it's not a. It's certainly not a technical term. It's
हाँ.
not a psychology term, but it is being obsessed with someone, wanting to control them, showing
Yeah.
signs of jealousy,
Okay, that's not me.
saying I'm not complete without you. Right?
Oh, like that.
Yeah, this is a relationship red flag because in a relationship you need both closeness and distance. और अगर आप अपने पर्सन है ही नहीं कि you're so obsessed with the other person, so there is no space in your togetherness, like somebody says, right? So that is not healthy.
No, yeah. That's a great answer. I'm so happy you said that because, yeah, you're so right that relationships do also need space, is what you mentioned. I asked someone and they was like, the best relationship advice is give each other a little space also. What do you think of that?
Yeah, depends. So again, in every relationship, there is somebody who wants more closeness and somebody who likes more space. This is normal. It's not dysfunctional. This is just normal. That's how it is, right? So this is something that you have to negotiate. I don't mean negotiate like sit in front, but in the sense that you have to manage over time. कि जैसे कोई होता है जो पूरे वक्त चाहता है कि उनका स्पाउस उनके साथ ही रहे, right? And there's some people कि when they're upset or sad or whatever, they just want to be by themselves.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And it's not personal. That's just a personality thing.
Yeah.
Okay. तो this is important to recognize कि अगर आपके relationship में ये है जो सब relationships में होता है कि you either like more space or more distance, कि this is just normal. It's just a difference in preference, and this, if you understand that, फिर वो आप इतना personally नहीं लेते, right?
Right.
क्योंकि personally लेने से फिर उसमें मसले हो जाते हैं. लेकिन अगर आप personally नहीं लेंगे, आप समझेंगे कि भाई this is their personality and this is my preference.
Yeah.
So then it's not such a big thing.
Wow, I love that. My ultimate comfort food is.
Oh my goodness. I love food, as you know. So to pick one, chocolate, I would say.
Yeah, I love chocolate. Chocolate is too good. If you could meet any historical figure for a conversation, who would it be?
My dada.
Yeah, of course.
My dada. Like, he still inspires me so much, though I never met him. He died way before I was born. But I still feel that I carry his spirit, and he still guides, my values and my actions. So, yeah.
Wow, I love that. And I feel the same way, even though he's great grandfather to me, I never met him, but I guess he's with us, he's like.
So, this kitab mein, the dedication that I wrote is very much like a tribute to my grandparents.
This is,
right?
I brought this, here with us because I love this. I read this every day. मेरे पास 2 copies हैं. मैं, एक मेरा कमरा में, एक मेरा office में, and because you have collected such beautiful prayers and collected them together and put them here, and I just love it. So on that topic, if we could just talk a little bit about Islam connected to and like the Ahlul Bayt and how they lived their life in their relationships, in their families. What can we take from them and put it in the modern world?
Okay. Okay. Very big topic.
Okay, then.
No, so I'll give you
as
some
short
context.
as possible. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So again, I always start with the text, the Quran.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, पहले होता था till very recently ये जो love का concept है West में बहुत ज़्यादा new है.
Yeah.
Okay. Only like in the last 150 years. Before that, लोग शादी love के लिए तो नहीं करते थे. Like it was for, to cement relationships, for financial security, to produce kids. Love was not part of the picture.
Okay.
Right? However, Islam told us 1400 plus years ago कि 3 चीज़ें are like the keystones of every relationship, right? So in Surah Rum, which is like we call it the शादी कार्ड ayat because वो हर शादी कार्ड पे होती है. So Allah tells us कि तुमने खलक किया है so that you may, in pairs, azwaj, so that you may find sukoon in each other, tranquility in each other. So the first kind of pillar of a Muslim marriage is the idea of sukoon, और सुकून is something that you create. Right? It's not अगर आप पूरे वक्त एक दूसरे को नैग कर रहे हैं या चीख रहे हैं तो that is the opposite of सुकून. Right? तो सुकून, and then Allah says कि I put between you mawadda and rahma. Again, two very important things. Love. So again, if you look at it in Islam, when a couple gets together, it is a gift from God. He says He put between you.
Yeah.
So जब आपका निकाह होता है तो अल्लाह का तोहफा है आपके
That's so
लिए कि
sweet.
उसने आपके दरमियान मोहब्बत और रहमा रखा. So if you are not experiencing these things in your marriage, right?
Yeah.
This is your job to kind of nurture that gift. Like, how can I
Yeah.
nurture that gift that Allah has already put in this marriage?
Wow.
You know, so and another very important ayat of the Quran is a dua actually that is from Surah Al-Furqan, where we pray to God, Rabbana hablana, means, oh God, grant us min azwajina wa zuriyatina, so from our spouses and our children, yani the family life, qurrata ayunin, means the delight of our eyes. Grant us the delight of our eyes. In other words, it's such a high standard. It's not a relationship of just, you know, living together or whatever. Qurrata ayunin wajalna lil muttaqina imama, means make us leaders amongst the God conscious, right?
Wow.
So qurrata ayunin, again, how when you look at each other, it should cause delight in your heart, joy. And that can't come without sukoon and mawadda and rahma.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So Islam is like such a inspiring blueprint. Sadly, it's so misused, you know.
Yeah.
When, and it's generally, you know, the patriarchal elements, right, which come and, you know, they have a certain understanding, which is very destructive to relationships. और अगर आप ये समझें कि क्या अल्लाह का क्या स्टैंडर्ड है और आप उसको कैसे रख रहे हैं, राइट? अगर if we all just, you know, are answerable for our role in this, like doing our part to nurture this gift that Allah has given us, our relationships would be fine. Because we are so focused कि भाई दूसरा बंदा क्या कर रहा है.
Yeah.
Right? But if we take responsibility of how can I, you know, nurture this, then it would be a completely different relationship, right?
Wow. We're good. Okay. So today we're gonna celebrate you. You.
So should I cut this now?
Yeah. Woo! Cheers. And here.
Thank you.
Of course. You can open it.
Ah, already?
Yes. Oh, nice. It's a little close, but wow. Okay, you know, we're gonna. But this is good. It looks sweet.
Thank you.
Sweet. And then there's something else.
Oh, candles?
Yeah.
I love candles.
Yeah, I know you love candles. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know, what can I give away? And I love you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one. Make sure to follow all of us. Subscribe, like, share. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You wanna blow a kiss? Mwah. Bye. Wait, like that. Bye.